Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is 050 HW1 graphing quadratics vertex form multiple choice. So we're going to do the first couple problems together of this homework, and then you're going to complete the rest of the problems on your own. Remember, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to come see me during extra help or ask during class. Alright, the first problem we got here is y equals 2 times x plus 1 squared plus 4. This equation is a quadratic equation because of the little squared, makes it quadratic. And it's in vertex form. Vertex form is when you have this little set of parentheses here, and you have the x plus or minus a number inside the squared notation. That's vertex form. Now, to find the vertex in vertex form, all you got to do is take the opposite number on the inside of the parentheses. So instead of positive 1, it's going to be negative 1. And the y-coordinate of the vertex is always just this outside number, whether it be positive 4 or whatever other number that will be in that location. So the vertex for problem number 1 is negative 1, positive 4. So we go from the origin, 1 to the left, 4 up. Right there, that red dot is the vertex of our quadratic equation. To find the rest of the points, we could just put this equation into the graphing calculator. So we take out our graphing calculator. We'll zoom in here. Now in this graphing calculator is a whole bunch of y equals. How I got to that screen is that I just hit the y equals button in the left-hand corner, top left-hand corner. That brings up this screen. Now just to make sure that the calculator is all good to go, what we first want to do is that we're going to clear the memory first. By doing that, we're going to hit the second button, plus sign, 7, 1, 2. And that clears the memory of our calculator to make sure that all our settings are proper and exactly what we're looking for. So now that the memory is all clear, I'm going to hit the clear button. Then I'm going to hit the y equals button. Now I'll bring up this y equals screen and everything should be nice and clear. Now we're going to type in our equation that we're working with. Now that our equation is 2 parentheses, our x button, which is located right here, our x button, plus 1, close parentheses, squared, plus 4. So we type that in exactly how we see it on our paper. Once we have that equation all typed in, we hit the graph button located in the top right hand corner. We could see our graph, what our picture is going to look like. Now to get all the other coordinates, we can actually get the table. So we hit the second button, graph. So second graph, that's in blue handwriting or blue typing or in yellow typing on your graphing calculator. It should say table, and that should bring up the table for yourself. Now we know our vertex is at negative 1. So that means our center point is at negative 1. So we have negative 1, 4. That's our vertex. So it's best to go 2 points to the left of the vertex and 2 points to the right of the vertex. So I'm going to plot the point 0, 6. That's our next point that we need to graph on our graphing. So it's going to be 0, 6 from the origin, so we plot that point. We also have negative 2, 6. On our graphing calculator, we get this all from the graphing calculator. And negative 3, 12. So negative 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up 12. It's a little bit off the graph. That's okay. And then 1, 12. A little bit off the graph. Oh, we'll be okay with that. And then we connect the coordinates. and it's a U little shape. with a shape that looks like a U or a V. All right, that's problem number 1. Next up is problem number 2. If you have multiple choice, let's see what that multiple choice looks like. So I'm going to group that all together. Better yet, let's bring up the multiple choice. So we're going to compare to see which one of our pictures it is. I'm going to zoom out. So looking at our pictures of A, B, C, and D, we see that C looks the best compared to our picture that we got. It looks like it's the same thing. It's the vertex is a little bit to the left in quadrant 2, and it's going up. So number 1 is C. Let's move on to problem number 2. So problem number 2 says y equals 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 1. So our vertex, well, we're going to do opposite of negative 1, so it'll be positive 1, and then 1 up. So it'll be the opposite of the inside of the parentheses. So the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1, and then 1 up. So 1 to the right, 1 up on our graph. Once we have the vertex, we could type our equation into the graphing calculator. So we take out our graphing calculator, we hit the y equals button, we clear it, then we're going to type in 2 parentheses x minus 1 close parentheses squared plus 1. We hit our graph button to see what it looks like on a 10 by 10 graph. So you could see that the vertex is in quadrant 1. And then to get a couple more exact points, you hit second graph and you get a table. Or you can see our point of 1, 1. That's our vertex. So we go 2 to the left, which would be 0, negative 3, and negative 1, 9. And then 2 coordinates to the right, 2, 3, and 3, 9. So we plot those points. 2 to the right, 3 up. 0 left, right, 3 up. And then negative 1, 9. 1 to the left, 9 up. 3 to the right, 9 up. And that's what our picture looks like. That's our parabola. Now at the multiple choice, you could take a look to see what that looks like. Notice our vertex is in quadrant 1. So let's take a look. Bring it to the front. So in A, our vertex is in quadrant 1, but the vertex is 2, 2, so we know that's incorrect. B, our vertex is 1, 1, so that looks pretty good. So B, the vertex is 1, 1. C, it's 2, 4, and D, it's negative 2, negative 1. So the correct answer for number 2 is B. 2 is B. Moving on, number 3. To graph this quadratic equation that's in vertex form, we have to do the opposite of the inside of the parentheses. So the opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. So we go 1 to the left. And then this negative 4 tells us to go down 4. So 1 to the left, down 4. That's our vertex in this equation. Let's bring this all up so it's easier to see. So that's where our vertex is. To get the other coordinates, we type it into the graphing calculator. So we get our graphing calculator. We'll zoom in so you can easily see what I'm doing. So next I hit the y equals button, which is in the top left-hand corner. I then clear it so we get rid of the old problem. And now we're going to type in our new problem, which is y equals negative So you use that negative button all the way in the bottom, not the minus sign, but the negative button. Open parentheses, x minus, so that minus is going to be actually the minus sign. But we're not doing minus, I'm sorry, it's a plus sign. So x plus 1, close parentheses, squared, minus 4. Now that we typed that into the graphing calculator, we hit the graph button to see what our graph is going to look like. You can see the vertex is in quadrant 3, aka the bottom left-hand corner. That's where our little vertex is. And that's the graph that we're going to graph. So to get the other points, we hit second graph, which brings us our table. We know our vertex is at -1. So it's -1, -4. We're going to plot the 2 points that are above on the table and below. So we're going to plot the point -2, -5. So 2 to the left, 5 down. We're going to plot the point 0, -5, because as you can see, that's another one of our coordinates. And we're going to also plot the point 1, -8. 1 to the right, down 8. And we're also going to plot the point -3, -8. We connect them to make our U, or in this case an upside down U. And we have ourselves our little parabola. And it continues on if we wanted to plot all the other points. So knowing that picture, let's take a look at our multiple choice. So here's our multiple choice. Our vertex we know is -1, -4. So A is incorrect. So is C. B is -1, -4. So that B vertex is good and D's is not. So number 3, the answer is B. Now if you have any questions, please come to Extra Help. Make sure to complete the rest of these problems. First, graph them on the graphing paper that I provided you, and then compare your graph to the multiple choice that's available as far as A, B, C, and D, and click the parabola that looks the closest to your answer. Once again, if you have any questions, come see me during Extra Help after school or ask me during class. All right, have a good night.